Hey guys, so today we're going to be reading Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, chapter 38. If you haven't seen chapter 37 yet, I'll link it in the description down below. Also, be sure to comment what other books you want me to read. Next up, I'm going to be reading When You Reach Me. It's actually a pretty good book. I read it once already. But comment down below if you want me to read anything else. Alright, let's get started. Chapter 38. As Min Li and Dragon followed Da'afu up the harsh landscape, the wind blew wildly. But traveling was not difficult. Dragon carried them over any large cracks or openings. Min Li had forgotten how enjoyable it was to travel with him, and Da'afu, laughing with pure delight as they rode Dragon, looked like two ripe hawthorn berries. Their merriment and brilliant red color of their clothes and of Dragon himself seemed to warm the cold landscape. It was only when Min Li's hand poked out of her sleeves into the icy air that she realized how cold it really was. "It's not much farther," said Afu to them after they had walked some distance. "We should be able to see the never-ending mountain soon." "You've never seen the Old Man of the Moon, though?" Min Li asked. "Has anyone?" Da'afu shook their heads. "No one has ever seen him," Da'afu said. "No one in the history of our family or village. Though we do know he is one who moved our ancestors here," Afu said. "The Old Man of the Moon brought your ancestors here?" Min Li asked. "How?" "The story of Da'afu's ancestors. Even though our ancestors did their best to please the magistrate, they were not able to make him happy. One day, a neighbor rushed to our ancestor's home, his horse panting from running. 'I have just returned from the city,' the neighbor gasped. 'I rushed all the way here to warn you. The magistrate is convinced the answer you sent him was a trick, and you are keeping the real secret from him. He was coming here to punish you. He plans to destroy your family and home. Run away while you can. There is not much time. His soldiers will be here tomorrow.' Our ancestors cried with fear. The large family, the many sons and daughters, aunts and uncles, and children and grandchildren could not help being scared. But Yeye, the great-grandfather and head of the family, raised his hand for attention. 'It looks as if misfortune is coming,' he said, 'and there is nothing we can do. We will not run. The soldiers would easily find us, and the magistrate would even be more brutal. And I do not want to spend our last moments together in panic flight.' Yeye looked at the bright blue sky and sun shining on the mountain beyond their home. It was hard to imagine the coming trouble. 'Little ones,' he said to the children, 'go fetch your favorite kites.' Then Yeye turned to the adults. 'Sons and daughters,' he said, 'prepare for the finest picnic you can, with enough food and tea for all. We will not waste this time we have together. We will spend it as we always have, in happiness.' The family nodded at Yeye's wise words. Quickly they rushed to do as he asked. They brewed large pots of their best chrysanthemum tea and filled special baskets with golden cakes and custard tarts, boiled chickens, crispy pork, fluffy steamed buns, and tea-stained eggs. And their brilliant kites in the shapes of bugs and butterflies were dragged out of storage and into the sun. Yeye smiled at his family as they finished their task. He carried his favorite books of poetry, stories, and songs in a bag. 'Come,' he said, 'let us climb the mountain.' So together, with the tree leaves waving farewell, the family made their way up the mountain. They climbed high so the kites could fly without the trees getting in the way. When there was nothing between them and the sky, they stopped, and they had a delightful time. The children laughed as their kites soared in the wind. The women smiled as they sipped the tea, and the men happily ate the delicious treats. Yeye recited poetry that made the women sigh, told stories that made the men gasp, and sang songs that made all the children join in. But all too soon, the day was ending. The moon was already rising in the sky when the children were told to win the strings of their kites. Why bring the kites down? An older boy asked. This will be the last time I will be able to play with them. Yes, a girl said. Let them fly for as long as they can. So instead of bringing the kites in, they cut the strings. As the kites were freed, a strong gust of wind burst from the sky. One by one, the butterflies and dragons disappeared, as if flying home to the moon. As the kites vanished from sight, there was a sad sigh. No one spoke, but they all wished for an escape from tomorrow's tragedy. Quietly, the family packed their belongings and began to climb down the mountain. They walked a long time, so long that the moon rose overhead, and they began to shiver with cold. Are we lost? A child asked. This does not look like the way home. That's impossible, the mother told him. How can we be lost? There is no other direction than down. But the boy is right, Yaya said. Look at the rock before us. We have climbed this mountain many times yet. I have never seen this rock or any rocks of this type before. And there are no trees, a young girl said. Always there will be trees below us, and now there's just more rock. It's colder, too, another girl said. It is much too cold for an early autumn night. What has happened? A woman asked. I think, Yaya said slowly, we are no longer in our mountain. Somehow we are on a different one. How is that possible? A man asked. And why? Before Yaya could open his mouth to reply, one of the children shouted. Home! She cried. Our home is right there! And it was their home. The dark red gate doors were wide open, allowing them to see light shining from the windows of their house. Their chickens squawked a greeting, and their dogs jumped through the gate with cheerful barks. Our ancestors couldn't believe it. Dirty pots and pans that they had left in the morning were still in the wash basin, mixed up with shoes and hanging laundry, were exactly where they were before. Even the book that Yaya had left was open on the same page. Yaya walked from room to room and house to house, with the family following like a parade. Finally, he found a slip of bright silk stuck in the hinges of the gate doors. He turned around to look at the family crowding about him. It is a miracle, he said to them. We have been moved here, beyond the magistrate's reach. We are saved. The family cheered, but could not help asking, how? Who did this? Yaya looked at the empty land around him in the dark blue sky with the moon above, and then at the thin strip of silk in his hand. This silk is from one of the children's kites. The kites brought our wishes up to the old man of the moon, and he must have decided that our destinies lay here. Yaya said, and he motioned upward, for there is only one other here with us tonight. It is only us and the moon. And your family has been here ever since? Dragon asked. Both children nodded. For over 100 years, our family has lived on the mountain, and we keep growing. Sometimes we travel down the mountain. Sometimes people come to us. Anyone who visits is welcome to call our place home. So Minli began, but her words died away as Dafu pointed toward the horizon. Minli and Dragon followed his hand and finally saw what could only be Never-Ending Mountain, home of the Old Man of the Moon. Bam! That was the end of chapter 38. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to give this video a like, subscribe down below, comment what other books you want me to read, and yeah, stay tuned for chapter 39. Bye!